this preview is proper long, isn't it? It's because it's been such a long time. But we will talk about Danny Ings' future because a lot of people are speculating. There's a lot of chat, which seems to be motivated by movement elsewhere.
Yeah.
Whether it be Harry Kane needs to go somewhere and get some trophies, get some success in the league. And Sergio Aguero will be leaving Man City. And it all just starts to spark off these conversations about Danny Ings' contract. So we've got a year left. What's going to happen? There's a stipulation that he wants to put in the contract that basically has a buyout clause, which Danny, I believe, wants at 20 million, 25 million.
Yeah.
And the club want a 45 million. And to that, I can understand where both sides, where the club's coming from. I can understand where Danny's coming from. You know, these are elite footballers. They've only got a certain amount of years to earn their keep. And ultimately, it's every football player's dream to lift a trophy and play at the highest level. So, you know, fair play. Won't ever let anyone stand in the way of anyone progressing on with what they want to do. But the only gripe I've got, and it's basically this. Last season, Man City bought Nathan Ake for 40-something million.
Yeah.
And Nathan Ake is sat on the bench at Man City. But regardless, 41 million. So why on earth would we suddenly have a situation where Danny Ings, the most sought after English striker, going for 20-something million? Am I missing something? It's like that is the only part of this that's just driving me nuts. It's like literally, I mean, if Erling Haaland starts a bidding war of whether he's going to Chelsea or if he's going to Man United, don't go to Man United.
He's not going to United. Roy Keane killed his dad. He ain't going to United.
Or is he going to Manchester City, which would be, as a neutral watching Man City, that would be fantastic. I would love to see a Pep managed Erling Haaland. That would be insane. So that's why I want him to go. But because of the fact that Pep's thinking, or the seniorities at Man City think, we don't want to get involved in Erling Haaland. Let Chelsea spend 160 million on him. And we don't want to get involved. We'll just buy.
Did you just say City and be like, oh, we're not going to spend that much on it? Man City! They don't care.
They don't spend. Well, they've had their fingers burnt a few times with these legislation and sort of FIFA fair play and all this sort of stuff.
Have they?
They nearly got kicked out of the Champions League.
But did they, though?
They did, and then it got overturned.
Though? Exactly.
Yeah, I know it works.
It don't matter.
But that's my thing. It's like, why on earth would Danny Ings be leaving our club for 20-something million?
It just that price is the Tottenham talking, isn't it? What that sounds to me is the rumors in the summer when it was like, oh, Danny Ings is going to Spurs, and we were like, what? Why would he do that? And now that Kane really should leave, I feel, Kane wants trophies, he should leave.
Yeah.
So now that question that swings back around to, okay, then Danny probably could go to Spurs, and Spurs would only 20 mil is what Spurs think a Southampton player is worth.
Yeah.
Regardless of who they are, what they're doing, they think a Southampton player is worth about 20 million, and that's just stupid. I don't want to. If we sell Danny Ings to Spurs for 20 or 25 or even 30, no, because you can sell him to a bigger side who will spend more money for him. And it's just, unfortunately for Danny, it's not up. It's not up to him whether they play him or not. No. Sorry, mate. We're saying to City over Spurs for the money, but it might not be a better move for you. But if you want to leave,
yeah, and to be very clear, I've got no grievances with Danny Ings whatsoever in any of this. I mean, he's got an absolute right to do what he wants to do. I mean, it's devastating to think that he might not be a Southampton player next season, but he's done some great things for the club, and have the utmost respect for me, and for the great goals that he scored. I see a lot of comments here about him only have 1 year left on his contract. I get that, but in the same regard, it's like it's Danny Ings. You know, it's almost like if that's the case, I'd rather him go on the free next summer.
Yeah,
Let's be quite honest. It's like
I
you can
don't know
say,
about that.
but the wages, like who are you going to get for 20 million
Oh, for 20, you're
next
right.
season? Who are you going to get for 20 million?
Here's the thing: that 20 million doesn't necessarily go on the Danny Ings position. That 20
No,
mil could go on another number 6, another CDM, or it could go on another winger. You know, it could go on. Sorry, it could go on another fullback. It could go on a Ryan Bertrand replacement. I think you could get a decent Premier League proven fullback. Off the top of my head, I'm not going to start naming names because I'll get it wrong. But like, I feel like there's, Ralph has admitted that squad depth is a real issue for us now.
yeah,
So
it is.
this summer is going to have to be one of our busiest, and I think this summer was very busy for us.
Mm.
So
It's a great summer.
it's like, people say this on the Joe as much as they want, but I think in terms of getting players in, we got lots of players in, and the transfer window was just harsh to everyone. It was awful for everybody. Suffered this time around. It was tough for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And now Ralph has now gone, oh, actually, it was a mistake to thin out the herd as drastically as he did.
Yeah.
I think Ralph has admitted his failings there, and if you're willing to listen to him say that, you can see that there's progression within him. If he's willing to admit he got the thinning out wrong, that he knows that the plan, having a plan B, having the tactic change. He's looking at that. He's not being stupid every game. He knows what he's doing, which is what you want. So now going to this summer, it's like I would 30 mil. I've just seen there the Liverpool Salon clause. So even if we get 40 for him, we might only get like 30 for him. But I said it in the when I was talking about maybe Redmond leaving. There are players in the squad that if they have to go, they can go because we need to get more depth and build a bit.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be sad to see him go, but I'm not alarmed by it. I think there's stuff that we could do. Goal scoring. He's dropped off a bit this season. Whether he picks that up again, that's the other thing as well. If you say these teams are looking at him, it's like, well, what's he scored 7? Is it 7 goals this season so far?
Mm-hmm.
So way off his tally from last season, and he's been injury prone, and he's not looked good since coming back from injury.
Yep. Yeah.
I mean, as much as I love him, we even talking just a minute ago, like maybe don't start him this weekend ahead of Shea Adams.
Yeah.
Like he's not the one playing for international football right now.
No.
He's not our international striker. So like it's hard when you start to be a bit harsh about it and you start to think it through. It's like it's not the worst thing to happen if it does.
Mm-hmm.
Just if it does, can it be the best for the club? Can we get can we make sure what happens to us is we get a decent money for it? And this summer's going to be interesting. This summer's going to be interesting anyway. But I heard that massive ping.
Sorry, I just smashed my and sorry for distracting everyone with the graphic changes. I thought, as we weren't talking about Burnley anymore. I thought I'd change it around. There we go. But great comment here from Cameron. 20 mil will go towards Theo and maybe Saki. These are both players that we don't own as yet. Whether or not we can, sort something on the Theo wages, but it's 20 million.
Yeah,
it feels like nothing.
But at the same time, if Minamino's being asked for 9, is Danny?
Yeah, I hear what you're saying.
I think that maybe we're just
the way it works is you have a player, okay, and every football agent knows this. You have a player who's worth this much, and then if he's an English national, he's worth this much.
Yeah. I think the other
Andy Carroll, 40-something million.
Yeah. How much did Mike Ashley pay for him? Come back. But I watched a really good interview with it was with Arsene Wenger the other day. It was so hard to watch. He's a very dry man, but he was talking about how he feels like the bubble on players' salary and players' value is almost it's hit this peak And I don't. And it's like, we've given Corona, given the the difficulty of the last transfer, given quarantines, given everything that we've got. Maybe just the value of the values might just go down a little bit. You might see them just decrease a little bit. So like I say, 9 mil for Minamino. Liverpool bought him for what? 12? They bought him for 15 plus. I think it wasn't too much because it's Liverpool.
Yeah.
But has he really declined that much? It's maybe there's just we might see this summer a little bit of discrepancy in player value. Like you're going to see Haaland if he goes for, I don't know, 150 maybe. You might see 190. You might see something like groundbreaking for him. I feel like for most other players, you're going to maybe see a lot of Ings level players go for about 20 to 30. So it's hard to say. It's hard to predict what it's going to be like in the summer, like for the transfers. It's going to be crazy, and to make it even worse, because of the Euros, transfers will be pushed even further.
What do you mean? Like,
when the Euros is on, everyone waits till after the Euros for the transfers, really, don't they?
Yeah, because they're like thinking, I might get injured.
There might be a surprise player at the tournament who sparks a few interest. So that's going to be it's going to be a bit of a torturous summer. I feel like it's going to be a bit like, all right, can we get this Euros so we can figure out what's Southampton's going to be like, or as always, it's England, the Euros. We're all band together and be like, forget Premier League for a while. It's coming home.
It is going to be a weird thing. I mean, can you imagine if Ings and Prowse make the England squad?
It's going to be something.
That will be a very, very nervous summer for us Saints fans.
I feel like in the last 8 games of the season, I think Kyle Walker-Peters could prove himself into the England squad.
You reckon?
I think maybe not in the starting lineup, but I think in given current form, I think he's a better right back than Wan-Bissaka is, and I think he's probably top 5 in the league.
I agree.
And I think that if given Trent sort of dip recently, and Reece James sort of coming in, I prefer Kyle Walker-Peters over Reece. I know that's biased, but I do think he's better than Reece James. People might not agree, but that's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he could maybe try and push himself into the squad in the summer. But I think James Ward-Prowse is going. I think everyone's kind of realised.
Yeah.
But it'd be a bit of a difficult summer if Ings goes and he goes.
Yeah. Yeah, let's not even talk about that.
Let's not even look at that. Let's not even think about that. He's staying. He's a one club man. He's the new Letizia.
Absolutely.
James Ward-God.